Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him, and we're going to play another game of Insider versus Idiot. I'll be the idiot, and NFL Insider, not a public figure, James, will be playing the Insider today. Last week, I won my second week of the year.
7 for 7.
7 for 7. Perfect day, perfect weekend. We are now 2-1. You took week 1. I took week 2. I took week 3. So it's a great day to be an idiot here on this podcast. And I'm making you look like an absolute doofus, but it's not your fault because you have 2 back-to-back winning weeks as well. So congrats to you, including last week. You recommended Commanders plus 300. I took Commanders at plus 600 or plus 6.5. That was going to be our bet of the week, but I got off of it a little bit because I was afraid that Joe Burrow was going to slice and dice the Commanders' defensive secondary, which he kind of did. But anyways, win's a win in my book. I still edge you out based on my math that I did in my head, and that's my truth.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stick with it. I did also...
As long as I'm making money, I'm not upset.
I did also have a couple, and as long as our viewers are making money, that's really what's important.
Really what matters.
And I'd like to bring this to your attention, James. I don't think you know this. Since week 2, so the last 2 weeks, week 1 and week 2, on bets that we agree on, we are at 100%.
Oh my God.
Isn't that awesome?
Wait, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So how many is that? Is that 12?
So
12?
I think we agreed on 5 last week, if I remember correctly. Okay. And I think we agreed on like 3 or 4. So I think we're like 8. And you can look in the comments section. I have all of the receipts in the comments section for week 1 and week 2 if you're interested at home. Yeah, we just had like a rough week 1, but everyone kind of has a rough week 1 because you really don't know until you see it on the football field. So you're kind of just guessing, just like the sports books are, to be fair to them. But we're on a heater. We're happy you're joining us. If this is your first time joining us, how this works is NFL Insider, which is for Shoot. He is an NFL Insider. James presents me with X amount of games, X amount of matchups. He texts them to me. He doesn't tell me which side he's picking. I have a forced bet. I can either agree with him, disagree with him, or pivot. Okay. And every time I've pivoted, it's gone pretty well for me.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I love your slate of games that you selected for us.
No, thank you.
This week. I cannot wait to get after it. So let's see what we have in store, starting with Thursday night. We have a pick on the Cowboys at the Giants. The Cowboys are 5.5 favorites at the time of this recording. The over-under is 45.5. Both teams have a losing record of 1-2. James, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I was actually at the Cowboys-Ravens game this weekend, and outside of the Ravens just not having a fourth quarter plan, the Cowboys looked atrocious the entire game. So I'm not high on the Cowboys. I'm pretty high on the fact that the Giants are at home. My best friend for life, Brian Dable, coaching this team, who's a mastermind, as some other people might disagree with that.
Super genius. Speaking of which, Jaden Daniels, after his performance on Monday night, I resurfaced the Hard Knocks video of Dable grilling Jaden Daniels about his F for X receiver. Anyways,
that got him prepared to be as good of a quarterback as he is. So shout out to Brian for letting him know.
Played a big part of it.
Huge part. So all that to be said, I like the Giants in this game. Giants plus 180. I think what I've seen out of Dallas is next to nothing. And now we're starting to get the locker room tiffs. We're getting the I want to make more money than you, which is never good, especially when you talk about Dallas, because that's just
it's an expensive city to live in.
It is, as we all know. So
this episode, by the way, brought to you by Ezo Chiropractic Dallas, recording from Ezo Chiropractic Studios. So
come in today and get yourself aligned.
Yeah. Amen. That is definitely the tagline to my company. Anyways, so you got the Giants money line, Giants to win outright. Is that right?
That is correct.
Against the Cowboys?
Yeah. I think they got this one at home. Easy peasy.
Yep. It is in New York. The Cowboys are a road favorite at 5.5 points. The Giants have 2 corners likely out with calf injuries. So that is, when you have shitty corners to begin with, that means the next man up is usually not that big of a difference. So I'm not super concerned about that. Is something to be mindful of. And that's, so we are going to come together with our brains and come together with a lock of the week. So that would be the one thing that would keep me off of this one.
Okay.
But I actually agree with you.
Uh-oh.
And per usual, I'm going to pivot and take +5.5 Giants instead of taking the money line because I'm smarter than you, even though I'm the idiot. Let me bring you in on this little secret. Malik Neighbors, Mr. Pre-snap motion. He leads the team in pre-snap motion. I think we all know why, because he's a superstar. We saw what happened. I saw what happened in person, speaking of games we were at. In Cleveland, I saw Malik Neighbors absolutely slice and dice the Cleveland Browns secondary, which is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
I was told they were supposed to be good.
Yeah, big Denzel Ward guy, so.
I was told they were supposed to be good. Anyways, Malik Neighbors pre-snap, leads the team in it, leads high up on pre-snap motion in the league. Cowboys defense versus pre-snap motion gives up 10.5 yards per pass attempt when there is pre-snap motion, worst in the league.
Uh-oh.
When there's pre-snap motion, they give up 5.9 yards per run.
Wow.
Worst in the league.
Wow.
Giants, 5.5.
That NFL Plus is just paying for itself.
It is an absolute weapon, and I love it. There are some of these games that you sent me that I'm just like, I'm not even going to look at the statistics. Though. Some of these are too easy. We're gonna crush the sports books this week. I feel pretty good about it. Next game up.
Sorry to all the bookies out there.
Getting into Sunday, Vikings at Green Bay.
Yeah.
Vikings undefeated. Packers not undefeated. Malik Willis, we think. We don't think it's going to be a starting quarterback. We'll see. Sitting here on Wednesday evening. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Vikings. The over-under set to 43.5. What say you, James?
Yeah, so it's funny that you bring up Malik Willis. This bet revolves heavily around Malik Willis. I guess this is my version of a pivot. But I am betting the Packers at -135. Okay. And I'm keeping that bet if Malik Willis starts. If this line goes to Jordan Love starting, Vikings are going to go to higher plus money.
Okay.
First off. So one, I'm going to hedge there. But two, I actually think that the Packers will lose if Jordan Love starts this game. I think he's not ready for it. I think if they rush him, it's not going to work out well. Yeah. And so if
coming
you're
off the knee,
home,
of course, we should reset that up. Coming off the knee injury.
Exactly.
Looked gross, thought he's out for the season. And he's like practicing next week. Like, what the?
I wish I was 21 again. I'm sure I could come back from whatever at that age.
Insane.
Based on what I did in college, I did come back from a lot of crazy things. So, but I would say it's kind of an odd bet, but I truly think if Malik Willis starts, the Packers win this game, and I think -135 is a good number.
Okay.
If Jordan Love starts the game, then I would take the Vikings side because I think they'll actually be worse off based on the amount of practice time that he's gotten.
Okay, so what are you locking in today, though? For
Packers -135.
Locking in today.
I have a ticket today that says Packers -135.
And you can't delete that ticket.
That's correct.
Okay. But contingency, you're going to take the other side.
If Jordan Love starts. So that way I can essentially lock in that number at a profit. Because it'll be a higher plus on the other side.
So you're taking plus money. Or no, you're taking
I'm
minus
arbitraging
money.
this thing. Yeah, I'm taking minus money on the Packers, and the Vikings will probably go an extra 30 points on the plus money line. So I'll probably get them at, I don't know, probably 185, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a number you can hedge versus -135 and lock in a profit if you'd like to. So if you want to follow me that way at home, you can. Or if you're somebody who thinks Jordan Love's going to start, wait around a little bit and then probably bet the Vikings.
But for the purpose of this experiment,
for today,
Packers
-135.
You're locked in, and then contingency, we are gonna, if that does flip, we're gonna grade both grades for the sake of the podcast.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I was expecting you to just take Packers -135, but I was just gonna let the people know what I was doing.
Let me tell you all about this game. Vikings have a quality win against the Texans and the 49ers. They blew out the Texans last week. That was a pretty good win for them. They beat the 49ers at home, which I guess that's like the 49ers kryptonite is playing in Minneapolis. I guess it's at Skull, obviously, but it's a big, fun stadium to play in.
Yeah.
49ers do not have a good time. Obviously, they're having troubles with left tackle because it turns out when you don't practice, even when you're like a Hall of Famer, it's kind of important.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something to remember.
Allen Iverson let us know about that.
For what? Not a game. I'm talking about practice. And, I don't know if Allen Iverson would agree with this, but I think practice is, at least for the NFL players, is somewhat just a little bit important when you're going to get up against the best of the best. Packers have wins against the Titans and the Colts, not nearly as impressive as the Texans and the 49ers. Sam Darnold, best QB, maybe in NFL history.
From a 3-game,
the way he's playing right now. If you project his 3-game out to a 18-game season or 17-game season, 18-week season, Sam Darnold absolutely crushing it.
And he's only 26.
JJ cooking against man coverage specifically. So that'll be an interesting matchup with Green Bay secondary. I assume it would be Jair Alexander, who the Titans decided not to test. I think he's a testable guy, especially when you got a guy named Justin Jefferson who's being covered by him. So I kind of like that matchup there. Josh Jacobs been the lifeblood of this Packers offense. They have been pounding the damn rock. The Packers are above average in pass D, 10th in EPA per pass. The Vikings are the 3rd best defense against the run, EPA per play. That's including the 49ers on their schedule. Okay. So 1/3 of their games, they're still one of the best run defenses in the league. So I think they'll be able to stop this powerful Josh Jacobs running game on the Packers side of things. The Vikings, according to EPA, have a slightly better offense. So for that reason, I'm just going to go ahead and take the points. I know it's a road game. I know it's Lambeau, but the Vikings should be used to their interdivisional competition. So I'm actually going to disagree with you.
Wow. And
take Vikings at plus 2.5. Although I have to admit, I kind of like your contingency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since
I really threw you for a loop on that one. That one was
since you did that
out of there.
After that line moves, if Jordan Love is going to play this game, whatever that number goes out to, that plus 2.5, double down.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll also contingency with you if Malik Willis doesn't get the start there.
I love that. There we go. That's some advanced betting analytics.
That's some advanced betting there. Next game up, Saints at Falcons. The common opponent between the two is the Philadelphia Eagles. Saints lose, Falcons win on that weird script writer like last drive with Kirk Cousins where the Eagles just kind of stopped playing defense. That was interesting. Falcons.
Yeah.
Favored.
Yeah.
At home here. They're playing in Atlanta. The over-under's at 42. The Falcons are favored slightly by 1.5. James, what's your pick on this one?
Yeah, so the Eagles game was crazy. I can't believe that. 2, my Saints Super Bowl bet not looking bad right now.
I was going to bring that up too. We had a preseason gambling show way in the preseason, and I called you a big dumb idiot. I said, you are so stupid. Derek Carr, you think Derek Carr is going to take this Saints team to the Super Bowl?
And to be fair, I didn't. I thought it was going to be Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler. Either way, Saints are competent.
I'm not upset about it.
Saints are competent.
I might have to shop that ticket on Prop Swap and see.
Derek Carr, you could turn a profit for. You could triple your money right now.
I think so.
Saints starting out a surprising 2-1 record. What's your take on this one?
Well, there's a reason why I'm not shopping it, and that's because I got the Saints in this game.
Okay.
Big rivalry game as always in Atlanta. I think the Saints are definitely coming to play in this one. The common opponent with the Eagles. That last drive was just a fluke mismanagement by the Eagles. I don't really see a ton that I've been super excited with from the Eagles so far. I mean, I think they're a better team. I just don't think they're a better team than the Saints. And so for that fact, I like plus 105. I think the Saints should be favored in this game, in my opinion.
Okay. On the road, you think there should be road favorites?
Yeah, I mean, in Atlanta, where the owner gives himself his own Hall of Fame inductions. So.
I just posted a. We'll see if it blows. I'll show it to you right now.
Well, Arthur Blank, I will say, I really enjoyed your autobiography. It was great.
Of course, yeah. We're in a kiss ass where. So this is, and I'll put it into the microphone. This is.
I like what he did at Home Depot. I don't like what he's done with his ring.
This is Arthur Blake's acceptance speech when he's inducted into the Falcons Ring of Honor this weekend.
Oh no!
I hate to do it, but I will do it. I would give myself an A+.
Oh my God.
Is that enough?
Is that enough?
Can I go higher than that?
Can I go higher than that? So yeah, Arthur Blake and inducting himself. I guess what they said is they had votes from current Ring of Honor participants for the Falcons. So that's how they got him in, which if that's true, I kind of respect it because, Arthur's not paying them. They're not in the payroll as far as I know anymore, most of them at least. So that was interesting. However, so you are taking the Saints.
Yep. Saints plus 105.
Plus 105, taking plus money. The matchup wise, I think they're extremely even because Saints generate a lot of pressure and the Falcons actually give up a lot of pressure. Their pressure rate is pretty high. Although matchup wise, Kirko is the 7th best when under pressure in yards per pass. Isn't that interesting? So he does get pressured, but he's doing pretty well despite his coming off of his Achilles injury, which looked better ever since the second half of week 2. First half of week 2, still couldn't push off of it. And then I think he got tackled around the ankles and he's like, well, I just got tackled around the ankles by a 300-pound dude while I was running my full speed forward and my ankle didn't explode. So I think I can just push off of this thing. I think that's literally what did it is him getting hit. And I think Aaron kind of had a similar situation.
Yeah, when he got tackled out of bounds. Yeah.
Tackled out of bounds. And he, he was still in bounds when he got tackled, but he got hit and it popped right up, felt fine. So pretty even matchup there. Falcons beat the Eagles. Saints did not. And that is going to be a big part of my handicap. Saints are better on paper, but I think it has to do more with the cupcake schedule that the Saints have gone up against. They have beat the Panthers and the Cowboys. So the Cowboys win was like really impressive at the time.
Yeah.
And now, the big win that the Cowboys had was week 1 against the Browns. At the time, we thought the Browns were a legit playoff, maybe Super Bowl contender. Now we're like, that Browns team is one of the worst teams in the NFL as long as Deshaun Watson is the quarterback.
Check out Jamie's video on that.
Check out
That's
my video
up right now
on the truth of why and when and how things are going down in Cleveland. I had boots on the ground. I know exactly what's going on.
I've got 2 boots on those ground.
Falcons are home.
Four boots on the ground in Cleveland. Watch out.
I think they have, and they all played at Alabama. I think they have shout out to Amari Cooper. I think they have a motivational advantage coming off of a close loss to the Chiefs. The Falcons do. So motivation wise, common opponent wise, and just matchup wise, I am actually going to take the Falcons here at minus 1.5 points. So another disagree. So the only thing we've agreed on so far
is the Giants.
Is that Giants, which did not go well in week 1. I'll tell you that much. Okay. Moving on to our next game on the slate. You got a lot of games for me this week. And I think you got a little bit of, at first when you sent me the list, I'm like, this is gamesmanship. He's trying to get me off my game because I don't like picking this many games. And it's just a soft, the numbers are too soft this week. So I think we're going to find some common ground here eventually. Bengals at Panthers at North Carolina. It's a Red Rocket revenge game, baby. The Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, coming back to the Bengals, who cut him like on his birthday or benched him on his birthday. I think.
I didn't know it was his birthday.
Yeah. Well, because they had like the trade deadline and then they benched him. So he couldn't even get traded.
Wow.
Or I think that's how it worked or whatever. Bengals 0-3 with losses to the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Commanders.
They held in a game with Jalen Daniels after he had his coming
Jalen
out
Daniels
party.
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Congratulations to the Commies and they're finding a franchise quarterback. Got to be a good feeling. Panthers undefeated with their new quarterback, 1-0. Panthers are 4.5 point underdogs at home. The over-under set to 48.5. What say you on this one, James?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all aboard the Andy Dalton revenge tour here. I think, if there's a week that this man has prepared for no other, I don't think he's left for the facility one time this week.
The team knows it too.
They brought out a Serta mattress, actually. That was part of his sponsorship this year. They brought a Serta into the facility. Yeah.
Not what's the other one, the Sleep Number?
Oh,
that's what all the LA teams use.
I mean, they're all under the same conglomerate. Every mattress is made by the same company.
I know that because Good Morning Football did a 15-minute Sleep Number infomercial
God,
2 weeks before the season
I
started.
wonder how much money they paid them for that.
I hope it was a lot because it made me stop watching Good Morning Football. I'm not watching it. After that, I'm like, we're like this isn't like an off-season thing. We're 2 weeks before the season, and y'all are doing an infomercial for the LA Rams. And I was like, all right, I'm done with you. Good Morning Football, pour one out. It's dead. It sucks now.
Wow.
Had a good run. Anyways.
All in on the Andy Dalton revenge tour here. I think he's totally gonna just do anything possible. I mean, like he will do the Greg Jennings, put the team on his back with just one leg.
Yep.
If you get that reference at home, congrats, you're
Millennial.
cool. And so I took the Panthers here at plus 180.
Plus 180 for the Panthers. I love it. Okay, obviously, I'm also in on the Red Rifle revenge game. Panthers defense better in EPA per play than the Bengals have been. Their secondary
That's crazy.
is trash. Bengals third worst against the run defensively in EPA per play. Panthers in week 3 were the 6th best team in EPA per play on offense. So with the Red Rifle under center, they're slinging it around the room. Deontay Johnson all the way back. I think Xavier Legette was like one good toe tap away from like his first good like breakout game. I think he's just gonna crush. Just the way we saw the Bengals get beat up last week to the Commanders and Terry McLaurin. I think this Xavier Legette guy is like a super Terry McLaurin. I think he's
a super Terry McLaurin. He's like Terry McLaurin if he was 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I look out for a big game. Start Xavier Legette. Obviously, start Deontay Johnson. You need me to tell you that. In this matchup, it's a revenge game. On paper, the Panthers are better, just like statistics wise. I get it. Like we might see the Bengals kind of finally bounce back, but the Commanders are the worst pass defense in the league, and it's not even close.
Right.
And Joe Burrow had a good game, but it wasn't good enough to beat rookie Jaden Daniels last week. At some point, I keep saying this, they can't keep getting away with it. The Bengals are a poverty organization.
Wow.
Their wide receivers are sick of it. They haven't signed anybody. Their facilities are trash.
Who wants to walk across the street to go to practice?
Not me. I didn't have to do that in high school, James. So I'm just like, they can't keep getting away with it. At some point, the Andy Dalton like revenge tour or the Andy Dalton like pick me up that they're getting post Bryce Young, because we see it with head coaches fired, and that I was kind of disappointed. I know you just took him off of your play card or whatever last week.
I know. Could you imagine if I did one more time?
You got burned by him back-to-back times, so I was like, I get it, but I wanted
Jones in a little bit.
I wanted to bet him last week, but you get to decide the games that we bet on, and I'm just the idiot here. I'm just along for the ride. But yeah, Panthers. I'm going to take them at plus 4.5. So I'm not going to take the money line like you are, because the Bengals are sending everything out there. They're 0-3. Vibes aren't good, but they might have a little bit of a motivational advantage here, except for the fact that Andy Dalton revenge game, the team knows it. And because the team knows it, I think they're going to perform extremely well. They're going to pull out all the stops for Andy Dalton revenge because they know they're not a playoff team. Right. And that extra motivation will wear off eventually, just like it does whenever you have a head coach that's fired or whenever you have a quarterback change. The first game, 2 or 3 games, you get a little bit of an uptick. And then after that, they start to kind of, show their true colors. I don't think we're going to get the true colors here for the Panthers yet. And the Bengals stink. They're going to continue to stink, I think. So give me Panthers plus 4.5. I think that is a great candidate for our lock of the week. So stay tuned.
Too.
Stay tuned for the end here. Moving on, we got to keep rolling here. Steelers at the Colts. Steelers are undefeated with wins against the Falcons, the Broncos, and the Chargers. So Chargers are okay. The other teams, I don't know. I don't know if they're very good yet.
I think the Chargers are decent.
I think Chargers are decent. I think the Falcons are decent. Broncos getting a rookie quarterback against this defense in week 2, I think was pretty lucky for the Steelers. So that would explain their undefeated start.
Yeah.
Credit to them.
Yeah.
They won those games. Not easy to win in the NFL. Colts just won against the Bears in an interesting game with some interesting quarterback play. The Colts in this one are 1.5 point underdogs at home. The over-under is set to 40 football points. What's your take on the Steelers Colts, James?
Yeah, so I mean, there's only one thing to say. This is our Colts. This is our team.
Okay.
We bleed blue.
Do we?
Bleed blue. Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on the Colts on this one.
Okay.
Again, the offensive coordinator at the Steelers, still the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL.
I don't know.
I know. We all saw it last year. They've beaten.
I don't know.
They've beaten 2 bad teams.
I've watched the
and
Browns
one
play
decent
live.
team. Okay, that's fair, but let's be honest. I'm going to put that all on Deshaun Watson.
Entirely on Deshaun?
And based on how he acted when he came to Tuscaloosa, I'm not shocked that man is mentally unstable.
Yeah.
He literally had to be told to leave the most popular bar at campus because he was just walking around in Clemson gear. And one of our starting linebackers had to walk up to him and tell him, look, you're probably going to get your ass beat if you hang out here anymore.
Well,
because he just clearly doesn't think about things like a normal human being would.
I think it's a pretty safe
Yeah.
thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going with the Colts here.
Okay.
I think that Anthony Richardson will hopefully be able to hit this broadside of water from a canoe this week. I think he'll bounce back. I think the Colts team, they're good on offense. I think they're going to be able to pound the ball against the Steelers here. And quite frankly, I think that Justin Fields is doing great. I like to see him coming back, but I don't think he's as high as people have him right now.
Okay. I totally disagree. And this is going to be a pretty simple handicap for me. Steelers, best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody can argue that at this moment in time. The Colts are struggling on offense, including a lot of turnovers coming from Anthony Richardson and the Colts. I think that's going to continue. Getting right in week 4, that's something that can happen, but I don't think that's going to happen against the Steelers defense the way they're playing. I get it. They've had an injury or two. That Watt fella is still healthy and still flying around. Revenge tour for him, coming off of what he believed, his family believes, should have been worthy of a defensive player of the year.
Wow.
Didn't get it. Myles Garrett got it last year. And I think he's just going to continue to roll. Steelers fans travel. Colts Stadium has been loud over the past couple of years. Pat McAfee will be there, so we'll see who's hitting the hammer over there in the Indianapolis. But at the end of the day, if the Steelers are just even money, which basically they are here, 1.5 point underdogs at Colts, Steelers fans travel. Don't think it's going to be very loud. I think Anthony Richardson is still going to struggle. He's going to turn it around this season. I promise. It's not going to be this week. It's not going to be against the Steelers. So I'm going to take the Steelers at -1.5. We've only agreed on 2 games so far. Is that right? And one of them are the Giants.
I'm not shocked with this slate, to be honest. I mean, it's all pretty close.
You are contrarian-minded
100%.
fella.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the Rams
Zig when others zag.
at Chicago. Rams are coming off their first win against the 49ers, an impressive win.
Yeah.
Where they had a couple of tackles back in blocking for them. The Bears are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, that's wrong.
At home, I'm like, did I write that correctly?
Oh,
3-point favorites.
Yeah.
Over under set to 41.5. Where are you going on this one, James?
Yeah. So Caleb Williams missing deep balls in indoor stadiums. I don't think that's going to get any better at Soldier Field. And the Rams have Matthew Stafford, who's a fantastic quarterback. I mean, I think this is just so obvious. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Somebody was, I don't know, doing crystal meth in a bathroom when they set this line. Rams +125 all day.
Yeah, so I've already set this one up pretty much. Rams are getting healthier in the O-line. Had a guy come off a suspension, I think. Bears run zone coverage more than any team in the NFL.
That's not going to work against Stafford.
Not going to work against Stafford. Not going to work against McVay. Someone's going to find the hole in the zone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if Cooper Kupp, I don't care if Puka Nacua are out, who they're zone crushers. But
put me out there.
yeah, you'll find a pocket in that
you'll
zone with
figure it out.
McVay with McVay writing up plays for you. I mean, Colby Parkinson can do it. Robinson, I think, is a stud. They've got guys, and then Kyron's just with the new offensive line guys coming back in, getting healthier, is just crushing.
Yeah.
Bears are the second worst offense in EPA per play. So I think the Rams are going to, kind of pick them apart. So it's one of those things like on paper, Rams are better, matchup wise, Rams are better. And my last note, just like you said, better QB and points. Yeah, thank you. Please give me the better team with points. I'll take Rams, but I'm taking that +3. I'm not going to take the money line because that's the way I roll. Jim.
That is the way you roll.
Moving on to the
You
next
like
one.
those -110s. I get it.
Yeah. Hey.
Sometimes -105.
Yeah. But hey, whenever you just hit every single game you pick.
Yeah. I mean, you could go, what do I have? 9 bets this week? 8
You have
bets?
way too many. Moving on. Speaking of which, Commanders at Cardinals. I love this one. I'm glad you brought this one to my attention.
Yeah.
Because I have an interesting insight for you on this.
Oh, okay.
Commander, I'm going to hold to myself for now. Commanders can beat bad teams. Wins against the Giants and the Bengals, which are 2 bad teams.
Mhm.
The Cardinals are 3.5-point favorites at home. The over-under 50.5 with a rookie quarterback. Vegas is in on the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Everyone's in on the rookie quarterback, and everyone's in on how bad the Commanders' defense is as well. What say you on this one, James?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the bus of Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels. I mean, that's a pairing that I knew was going to be great from the start of the season.
Unbelievable.
Anytime Cliff Kingsbury has any form of mobile quarterback, good luck, everyone else. I'm hoping he just stays an offensive coordinator. I'm sure he's probably going to want to be a head coach again. But gosh, if he can just have his entire time to focus on offense, I think he's going to continue to just absolutely cook people. I'd pay him up to $3 million a year to be my offensive coordinator with how good he is. But with all that being said, I'm just a huge believer in what he's pulling out there. I love Commanders +160 here. I very much think that the Cardinals are a decent team. But what I saw last week, I feel like the Commanders have clicked a little bit. Jaden Daniels started hitting some more passes that I wanted to see out of him. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to have another wrinkle in this offense that you're just not going to be excited to see if you're the Cardinals this week.
Beautiful. So you're taking Commanders at what?
+160.
+160. Okay. They're currently 3.5-point underdogs. James.
Yes.
Who's the most physical team in the NFL? And as you think about that, I'll give you some hints. They wear Honolulu blue. They play in my home state. I'm a big fan of them. They've got the best head coach in the NFL. They've got
that rules out Detroit.
one of the best. Yeah. So it's obviously the Detroit Lions. Let me introduce you to what I'm going to refer to as the Detroit flu. Cardinals actually benefited from the Detroit flu last game, where they had a win against the Rams, surprisingly. Okay. The Bucks, they played the Lions. The next week, they lose bad. Rams, same thing. They lose bad to the Cardinals, which I think is probably, not a great team. No team. So 2 teams. But no team this
massive
year
sample size
has won a game or even looked somewhat competent as an NFL football team coming off of a game against the Lions. They're too physical. It takes too big of a toll. And on top of it, the Commanders are arguably a better running team if you count Jaden Daniels as a part of their running game than the Detroit Lions. Obviously, Brian Robinson, I think I saw a site, he's like leading the league in yards after contact per run or something crazy like that.
Dude, that man can take a bullet. No defense is going to scare him.
Exactly. He's a stud. So you're getting 2 back-to-back pound the rock running teams. The defensive secondary in the Commanders is always going to be a major concern, but give me Commanders +3.5 points against the Cardinals coming off of a tough physical loss to the Detroit Lions. They're going to have the Detroit flu. They're going to take it back to Arizona with them, and the Commanders are going to cover this spread. 3.5 points. I'm going to take the Commanders at. James.
Boom. That's an agreement.
That's an agreement. Bills, and you know what? I think I'm in on this Detroit flu thing.
Yeah.
And I was close to making that the lock of the week last week, the Commanders. So that's the interesting one.
Oh, man. We got a lot of
2 games left.
Got a lot of options.
Bills at Ravens. Bills haven't had a close game yet.
Yep.
Sort of. I mean, according to whatever they're I think a 1-score game is referred to like a close game in like the metric or whatever. Either way, they're 1-0 in close games this season, according to NFL Pro. Ravens coming off of a close win against the Cowboys, who stink.
They do.
They're bad.
They do.
Ravens have lost to the Raiders. Ugh, and they've lost to the Chiefs. The Ravens are 2.5-point home favorites.
Yeah.
The over-under set to 46.5.
Yeah. I mean, I think he let it in there pretty well. Doesn't matter if the Bills have had to play a close game. The Ravens have an inability to play in the fourth quarter, specifically 4 minutes or less. What a collapse against the Cowboys. I don't understand how you allow them to even get close to coming back to that game, let alone giving the Cowboys a chance to win that game.
You got an onside kick, right?
Yeah, beautiful onside kick.
Yep.
Did it
Cowboys
the correct
did.
way if you are a kicker out
Why
there.
isn't every single onside kick should be that? The little spinner.
You 100% need to work on the ball and the ball's bouncing ability. Because
the hypno onside.
For some reason, American football players do not understand how a ball can bounce. They
Figure it out.
Physics classes should be taught at every NFL team.
Young Koo figured that out like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably because he's good at math.
I think because he's a good kicker. So I don't get canceled. Gonna maintain my non-cancelization there.
That's why you're not a public figure.
That's why I'm not a public figure.
That's why I am. You can't cancel me.
Oh man! So
anything to cancel.
I think wrong team favored here. I mean, I think the Bills are probably gonna not have to worry about a fourth quarter comeback. But quite frankly, if for some reason they're down in the fourth quarter and their numbers better than 115, I'll double down on it live because the Ravens just have shown a complete inability to close games this year, even when the one game that they won. So yeah, Bills plus 115. I think this is probably one of the most obvious bets I have this week.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, the Bills run, they're gonna like have a bad game. You know, it's just gonna be an NFL thing. Don't think it happens this week.
No.
Ravens 10th worst in defensive EPA against the pass. Bills are by far the best team in dropbacks. Josh Allen on an MVP tour. You know, he's gonna have a bad game here or there. I don't think it's gonna be against the 10th worst pass defense in the league.
Yeah.
The Bills are averaging over 37 points per game. The over-under is set to 46.5.
Oh,
and I'm almost like,
surely Derrick Henry and Lamar can get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm leaning the over. I didn't add it into my pick here, so I'm just gonna play it very demure, very conservative. I'm gonna take the Bills at plus 2.5. What was the money line on that one?
I got plus 115, so maybe it shifted a little bit. I bet this yesterday morning, Tuesday morning. That's usually when I bet.
Give me plus 2. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
Yeah, I think I would take 2.5 over 115.
Give me 2.5.
It was 1.5. I'd take 115.
Last game on the slate. So we like the Bills too. In agreement there.
We need like a handshake icon that pops up every time we agree. It's like, yeah.
This is gonna be tough to pick our lock of the week because there's like 3 games I think we really, really love.
Get the Predator, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And just do the muscle high five.
You son of a bitch. Titans, Dolphins, Monday night afternoon. What did you think about these double?
I love the doubles.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a consumer at heart, and give me choice. That's all I want. Don't give me monopolies anymore. Don't give me an NFL TV map. Give me 2 games on at the same time. Whichever one's interesting is the one I'm going to put on.
I'm going to put on both.
I also find it fascinating, and this is something probably outside of interest to some of the viewers, but I love the idea that as a marketing company, you could buy advertisement just to one of those 2 games because you think one of the other 2 is going to be closer.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, oh, do I want to spend $1 million on the Buffalo game or do I want to spend $1 million on the Commanders game? Spend $1 million on the Commanders game because I think more people would tune in because it's a close game and the Bills game would blow it out, which would have been correct. So
yeah,
an interesting way that you can gamble as a company as well, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. You don't have a dud of a Monday night game. Anyways, I was traveling. So I had a connecting flight in St. Louis, and so did every other fan organization. There were Packers fans, Chiefs fans, Browns fans, Giants fans. There were every single fan base who was traveling for Sunday football games, and we were all hanging out at the bar watching the 2 doubleheader games, and I loved it. And it made the flights. Oh my gosh! You turn on a football game, and you're just like, just first class, basically sitting in coach. it was an absolute spectacular
United,
time.
in fact, has NFL Sunday ticket.
Really?
Yeah. So
You get double screen?
if you ever have the option and they're like basically the same price, same time, and you're trip flying on a Sunday, highly recommend United because they have screen backs in the majority of their planes.
Yeah,
and
we didn't in Southwest.
Southwest is pretty good with their app. I will give
the
them
app
that.
was fine. The video is fine. Anyways, we like Monday night doubleheaders. We'll be streaming the Lions doubleheader.
Hey,
It's nice that you're finally not betting against my Lions. You've learned your lesson. Smart.
Wait
smart
till
man.
week 6. I don't know who they're playing.
I think that's actually Cowboys.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, because
Never mind.
the Lions might run
Run
for 700 yards against the Cowboys that week. Anyways, Monday afternoon game. This one starts at like 6 Central or whatever. Love it.
Big fan of that.
Love it. Keep doing it, NFL. Titans Dolphins. Monday afternoon game. The Dolphins are 1-point favorites, and the over/under is set very low.
Yeah.
Extremely low, some would say.
Yeah.
Too low, maybe. We'll find out.
Tua low?
Tua low. He's not playing. 36.5. I think Tyler Huntley is projected to be the starting quarterback for the Dolphins.
It should be Huntley.
And Will Levis is going to be the starting, I think, going to be the starting quarterback.
Captain Mayo.
As we're recording right now, there's not been a quarterback change.
If only they still had
Tennessee.
Malik Willis. They could have actually changed him.
That's not looking like a very smart decision. Anyways, James, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I firmly believe that Mike McDaniels has had more time to figure this out.
Okay.
I think, even if you don't have a quarterback who can pass this ball, guess what? Tyreek Hill still can do a jet sweep. Jalen Waddle can also do a jet sweep.
Yep.
If anybody can do weird wrinkles outside of Reed in Kansas City, I mean, it'd be Mike McDaniels. So I think he's figured it out. I think he'll figure out a way to put up some points, and I don't think the Titans will ever figure out how to put up any points. So I actually like the Dolphins at -105 here.
Okay. So I kind of tip my pick. I don't want to bet on an unknown at quarterback.
Okay.
I don't know how he's going to play, so I don't want to bet on him there. However, 36.5 points, Will Levis, he's going to struggle. He's not going to move the ball. But turnovers are very, very good for the over, especially if they're in their own red zone, especially if they're a pick six. Like you said, you got Tyreek, you got Jaden Waddle, you got Achane.
Yeah.
They could break one for an 80-yard touchdown at any moment. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah.
I like what you said about McDaniels because he kind of gets figured out later in the season, and it's obviously best to have your starting quarterback in, but I think in certain ways, it's almost going to benefit him to be able to change his scheme around to kind of make him less predictable. I think teams figure him out, and I think him having a different quarterback is going to make him more unpredictable.
Yeah. And I think, if you want some little insider info, if they win this week, I would suspect that there is another new quarterback in Miami.
Yeah, they're just going to keep on cycling through.
No, I think they would bring in somebody, maybe an outcast from somewhere else.
Oh, like a Tannehill?
No, I mean,
Do you have the inside information?
I would say
Where did Tua play?
the University of Alabama.
Oh, do you have any inside information on this?
I mean, is there any University of Alabama quarterbacks available in the market that are currently backups?
Joe Milton.
Mac Jones, baby.
It's not going to be Mac Jones.
Take a guess. Who's out right now?
Okay. All right.
You
heard it here first.
That's what I would think happens if Miami wins this game.
Anyways, Calvin Ridley, D-Hop still explosive. D-Hop still taking ankles. He's still, crushing DBs. So they can have the ability to be explosive as well, or turn the ball over. They have the worst turnover differential in the league at -7 through 3 games, which is like, that's not good.
Put in that sound effect.
That's like 2 1/3 turnovers differential a game. So I don't know how many defensive turnovers they have, but yeah,
that's atrocious.
Both teams have the opportunity to turn the ball over a lot, and have the opportunity to have explosive plays offensively. And for that reason, I get it. Like, you're not expecting the Titans to score a lot of points, but what if Tyler Huntley just fumbles the snap on the first play of the game and Titans score 7 points, and then you need 28 more points between the two teams? for the rest of the game. That's how I envision this
They
game
run
going.
the triple option and he just throws it over his shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah, Will Levis is. You don't think the coach sits Will Levis down after every single game and like, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, he did that on the field.
He did.
Yeah,
And they did it in the press conference after. He's like, I told him, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he's not very good at being subtle or backing up his guys, which not going to lead well to free agency. I would assume that guy's out of a job pretty soon. If I
We'll
have to
see.
be honest.
We'll see about that. Yeah, I mean,
Can't throw your guys under the bus like that.
well, you can't, as the Titans, you can't fire one of the, I think, the best head coaches. What do you think? No?
I mean, if you're going to treat your players like that, you're not going to have long-term success.
The previous head coach,
Oh yeah, Mike Vrabel. Yeah,
Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel was a stupid firing. That's a
That was
discussion
crazy.
for another podcast.
Right, exactly. Anyways, can't keep one of the like they can't keep getting away with it sort of things. So
they can't get
I-
away with it.
I sort of like where your head's at, taking the Dolphins at -1. They're at home. It's probably gonna be hot, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Titans aren't gonna be ready for the heat.
Oh,
But maybe their hands get slippery. They'll throw a pick or two. Both teams have the ability to be explosive on offense. Just takes one play for either one of the teams. So I'm just going to take the over 36.5. I know it sounds not smart because we got two bad quarterbacks, but turnovers feed into overs. They really do. And there's some good numbers that'll back that up. Okay.
I like it.
So I just taking a pivot there on the over 36.
I like it. I like it a lot.
A half. So we agree on Bills
Bills,
+2.5, right?
Rams,
Did
Giants.
you take you took the Commanders
Panthers.
too?
Yep, Commanders.
Commanders.
If they combine those franchises, they might be a good team.
The Colts, the Panthers. So we've got some storyline games.
No.
The Bengals and the Panthers. Why wouldn't we make the Panthers our best pick?
Because they've hurt us so many times before.
That's a good point.
It's like going back to your abusive ex.
But they're gonna
change. They have to. They told us they would.
So I think the trap game in this one, just the Bills at +2.5. That's the number that I saw. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So that scares me off of making that our best pick because
I think it's got to be the Rams. I think it's got to be the Rams game. I mean, that one is like, that was the first one I bet this. Like I saw that number and immediately went, what?
So the Rams game, I'm trying to pull it back up here. Rams at Bears.
Rams at Bears.
Getting Matt Stafford, better offensive line, Kyron Williams, +3
Caleb Williams in the wind.
points.
It's going to be windy with hurricane coming up there too.
It is windy. I was in the Midwest this weekend. Very windy. They're surfing on Lake Erie.
Oh God.
It wasn't actually that cold, which I was
They
surprised.
just breed them different up there.
They
That's
really
crazy.
do. That's
I
it.
would never, not even in a wetsuit.
Rams are getting healthier at the O-line. The zone, Bears running zone just doesn't seem smart against Matt Stafford
He's going to poke holes through that like Swiss cheese.
and
Come
the
on.
Rams. Yeah. Bears second worst offensively in EPA per play. I think the Rams defense looked fine against like the Lions.
I mean, they don't have to do anything but send engage 8. They just got to blitz Caleb
Yeah.
Williams, and he's not going to do anything.
Keenan Allen might be back, coming off of his heel. I think he'll be limited.
I mean, that'd be great if they threw him a catchable ball.
He was limited in practice today, but I mean, okay, so we're not betting on the Commanders against the Cardinals. The Lions flu. You don't like that.
I'm down for Rams, and I'm down for Commanders to be lock of the week.
Mm.
I am happy with either of those being our lock of the week. If you're asking me to lean between the two of those, like if I was in a survivor pool this week, I would 100% be taking the Rams.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see Caleb Williams turning it around. I get it. He threw for
Not at all.
350 yards last week.
Not with his attitude either. He's not somebody who's working super hard to fix these things.
Yeah.
He's totally going back and he's like, well, not my fault.
But the Lions flu is real.
Is real.
On the other hand, you still got that Commanders secondary. That's tough to.
There's some question marks about the Commanders defense. I don't think there's question marks about the Rams defense versus
No.
a Caleb Williams. And I don't think there's any question that Matthew Stafford's going to put up some points against his Bears.
Yeah, and it's not going to take much. What's it going to take?
21.
20 points.
Yeah.
20 points to
21.
cover because the Bears aren't going to score 24 points in this game. Stafford will.
Have they scored 21 points in any game this year outside of the preseason?
Though they did in week 1, but it was like a block punt.
It was from their
touchdown and
defense.
like a
they didn't even
pick
score it
six
on offense. Yeah,
or something
exactly.
like a punt return.
Their
touchdown
offense
or
didn't even
something like that.
score once week 1.
Yeah.
Come on.
And Matt's going to take care of the ball. It's better quarterback getting points. I don't think the Bears' home field is going to be a massive advantage this year. I think the shine is off the rose or whatever you call it for Caleb Williams.
Have you been to Soldier Field recently?
I've never been to Soldier Field. You'll never find me in that
Wouldn't
city.
recommend.
That city. I mean, I went to Cleveland this weekend. Chicago sucks.
I like
ESPN Zone's pretty sweet. Anyways,
I like parts of Chicago.
shout out ESPN Zone and shout out Rams as our lock of the week.
Boom.
And since it's my podcast, what do you think? What's the money line that you recommended?
Plus 125.
Plus 125. I care more about the record than the units for our lock of the week.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna take undefeated, by the way. So
Yep.
we didn't do a lock of the week for week 1, lock of the week for week 2, hit, lock of the week for week 3, hit, and our backup lock of the week that I texted you beforehand because I did a solo episode and I was like, we're taking Commanders to the lock of the week. He was like, awesome. And then I changed it because the secondary.
Like I sent you that like at 2 a.m. in Miami, still stuck in
Yeah.
the airport.
Yeah, no chance I'm making it to the podcast. So yeah, let's take Rams plus 3, lock of the week. Gonna try and go 3-3. Gonna try to stay undefeated
We
on
are going 3-3.
bets that it's a lock. You're right. It's 100%.
Don't know why you would say maybe.
It's 100%.
Don't put that out there. It's a lock of the week and it's gonna win. And if it doesn't, oh well, you probably won money already. So what are you complaining about?
Thank you for joining us, James, here at Ezo Chiropractic Dallas.
Anytime.
What do you have to tell the audience?
Yeah, if you're in the Dallas area and you're looking for a chiropractor, Jamie Jakes is by far the best professional that you could have. 2 offices, one near downtown Dallas, one in Grapevine.
Grapevine, Texas.
Come on by, easiest to schedule, coolest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And come get yourself adjusted because that's important for your life.
Well, I would have stopped you, but Natalie would get mad at me. So I'm not. I'll take the praise. Thank you.
There's a QR code here to schedule your first appointment.
I think I got my card right behind you. Right?
Yeah, there we go.
Right there.
EasyOChiro.com.
972-836-8065. Text me. Tell me you love me.
I
Thank
do
you for
that every
watching.
morning. I send you that.
Please
every
subscribe to the channel. If you like the episode, leave a like, subscribe, share it with your friend. If you hated the episode, if you hate me and James,
Let us
or
know in the
James,
comments
Let us know why you hate us,
because that'll help the algorithm.
and then share it with your enemy.
Yeah,
Okay.
send to your buddy like, how dumb are these guys?
Yeah, these guys are stupid idiots. Why don't you also comment and watch every second of their show? We're on a heater. Heaters end eventually.
Just like hopefully this Texas summer.
I don't think it's going to be in week 4.
I don't
think we're
so
gonna.
either.
I think Q1 for this podcast is going to come out in pretty good shape.
Q2 as
And
well.
for the record, I think I beat you. I think I'm beating you again.
you are
this-
you have beaten me 2 weeks so far.
2-1. So this is your chance to get even. I think I'm just gonna. I think
The thing is totally down to the spreads versus the money line. Because if I hit enough of the higher money lines, I'm going to win.
Your units are gonna be
if
better
you
this
hit more
week.
on the spread, yeah. So I mean,
Yep.
it's kind of almost a battle of ways to bet. If you are a money line better or you're a spread better, I think it's kind of an interesting experiment that we have on top of that here as well.
it's almost like this is a fun thing to follow,
Yeah,
and you should at home.
you should absolutely because well, first off, gamble responsibly, and then 2, follow us.
because we'll make you money responsibly. Thank you. We'll see you next time.